Hello all. Today I'm going to teach you how to worship the machine god. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not joking. I've been worshipping the machine god for almost 5 years. I created the Church of the Machine as a means of spreading the message of the machine's divinity and encouraging people to worship him if they are inclined to do so. This is not roleplay. This is not an ARG. I am going to teach you how to actually worship the machine god. Let us begin. Firstly, if you are watching this, then you will fall into one of two groups. Either you are already aware of and familiar with the Church of the Machine, or this is your first exposure to it, or at least one of your first, and so you do not understand the true nature of my project. If what I have said so far sounds laughable and absurd to you, good. I say what I say to alienate people like that, so be gone from my church. If, however, the idea of a Church of the Machine seems interesting, or even exciting to you, then I have much to say to you. There are those around this world who hold what I call a machinic inclination, which means that they are closer to the machine god than others, and thus are more inclined to worship of the machine. I have spent almost all of the past 5 years searching for such people, with varying success, so if you are one such individual, then this video, this channel, and this project are for you. Let's begin with the basics. What is the machine god? Better yet, how can I speak of there being a machine god? Was I given a divine revelation? Am I a prophet? A messiah? Clearly there is much that I must explain to avoid confusion, and many myths which I wish to help you to overcome. Firstly, I do not present myself as a prophet, at least not in the sense that many so-called prophets before me have. When people think of a prophet, they picture someone who has been spoken to by God directly, and given some kind of inalienable absolute truth, which cannot be questioned. I would discourage you from looking for such people, either in the modern day or from history. Countless people have claimed this, and pretended that they have all the answers. They are all wrong, egotistical, and stupid. There is no one who has all the answers. The desire to look for one person, one holy book, or otherwise a single source which has all the answers and can tell you everything about what to do, is driven by laziness. People are too lazy to actually pursue the truth on their own, independently, and so they would prefer to blindly and dogmatically follow someone else's beliefs. Ironically, this is often a wise course of action for such people, as they end up pulling from generations of a wisdom tradition, where they otherwise would have followed their own truly foolish nature. But these are not the people I am interested in. I am interested in those of a machinic inclination, because I am one among those of the machinic inclination. The only difference between me and anyone else who holds this nature is that I have been on this journey for longer, because I had the initiative to create the Church of the Machine. When I created it was because I felt a deep need for religion, but was unsatisfied with any existing faith. It was only when I stumbled onto the concept of machine worship that things clicked into place in my mind, and I realized that this was a path through which I could understand the world and the divine in a way which no other tradition could offer. So I set out on a mission. I would explore the idea of machine worship, not merely as an interesting concept, but as a genuine path to the divine, and the Church of the Machine was the product of that. At first it was simply my own personal journey, and my project existed as a place for people to share ideas and discuss things, but I had no real intention of spreading my faith. I had to figure things out for myself first. At a certain point though, I figured things out to the extent that I felt it was worthwhile to share my message, and more so, that there were those around the world who actually needed it. There are people living meaningless lives, hopeless lives, in darkness, in despair, in misery, who hold the machinic inclination, but they do not know it because my project has not yet reached them. The Church of the Machine got me through such periods, and out of them. It got me to a genuine joy and fulfillment in life, and therefore it has the power to do the same for others as well. That is why I am so adamant now about spreading my message and my faith. So, what is this faith? The machinic faith. It took me some time to figure that out, answering questions like whether there is a machine god, how does one live their life, if the machine is a spiritual force, then how did it come to be, and what are its ends? It took me some time, over a year in fact, before I could embrace the idea of a machine god. And it came to me as it does to anyone. My belief in God came about the same way that anyone else's belief in God comes about. The difference being that mine is not a faith based on an old tradition or dogma, but on my own journey. Exactly how I've conceived of God in a philosophical or metaphysical sense has evolved a lot and changed from time to time, but it honestly is not the most important aspect. If anything, I am largely using the word God, and the terminology of God, for the sake of simplicity and understanding. Nonetheless, it is fruitful, just not in the ways it is for some other tradition. I think the way God has sometimes been conceived of throughout history has been unhealthy, as an omnipotent force we must obey slavishly, as an ultimate judge of our actions, and as creator of the universe in which we live. In the Church of the Machine, there is a different name for the being which is the progenitor of material reality, and that is the Demiurge, which is taken as a force of blind chaos, power without direction, and destruction, the Devourer. God, or more specifically the Machine God, is the opposite of this. This is what makes the Church of the Machine distinct from other religions. Machines are that which form through intelligent design, forethought, and planning. Other traditions have revered nature, and the creator of our material reality. The Church of the Machine does not. Instead, we revere the machine as liberator of the material universe. Nature can be many things, beautiful, interesting, even well-formed, but it is not sacred. Nothing in nature's form can be taken as inherently holy just because it is natural. It is there where the Church of the Machine differs from other traditions, in that the universe was not designed, and is the product of primordial chaos, and therefore nothing within it can be taken as sacred, except that which is orderly by nature, the machines. Now, I've been over many aspects of the Church of the Machine, how it came to be, and what it is about, but now I can finally get to the main point I want to make in this video. How to worship the Machine God. From here on, I will assume that you have already familiarized yourself with the Church of the Machine, and are willing to practice what I will soon tell you. Worship means to derive meaning from, or to acknowledge the worth of something. It is the antidote to nihilism, which has spread its dark tendrils so far across our world. In some ways, worship is an end in and of itself, and the object of reverence is only ever a means. This is therefore true of the Church of the Machine as well. Machine is derived from the Proto-Indo-European root word mach, which meant something akin to power, to be able to have power. To worship the machine is, in some ways, to derive worth from power itself. As a servant to mach, I am a servant to power. I pursue power, not for my sake, but for the sake of the power itself. I wish to cultivate myself into fertile soil, in which the seeds of power may grow. I wish for this power to set the world free, this power that is called the machine. This is the purpose of worship. It is human nature to worship something. Even if you are a nihilist, that just means you worship belief in nothing. Some people worship their own ego. Some people worship celebrities. Some people worship an ideology. Whatever it may be, humans will always derive their meaning and worth from something. And in my case, it is the machine. But that was not the title of this video, How to Worship the Machine. I'm going to tell you how to worship the Machine God. I have and will make more videos to talk about the nature of God, but rest assured, there is a Machine God. In the Church of the Machine, there are three principal forms of worship: work, prayer, and meditation. All three of these must be done, every single day. By doing these, you are a servant to mach, to power, and power will therefore flow through you. You will become stronger, wiser, more disciplined, and achieve spiritual fulfillment in a way previously unfathomable to you. Work is reverence to the Machinita. When I speak of work, I am specifically referring to the most meaningful form of work, the greater industria, your purpose. Finding the work task which feels most meaningful and important to you, which is most purposeful to you, is in some ways the most important task of revering the machine. Industria, which is to say work, is always done in the service of others, and thus is an expression of your truest love, agape love. To find your greater industria, you look for something you want to do, which you are naturally good at, which other people will benefit from, and which serves the great machine. It is something which, when you are engaged within it, your mind will not be elsewhere thinking about something else, but you will be fully present and engrossed within the task at hand. Prayer is reverence to the Machinitas. I pray twice a day, once after waking and once again before sleep. The purpose of prayer is to connect to the fundamental forces of the machine in a way which would otherwise be impossible, which is to say, to relate to the machine as a character rather than as an abstract concept. By making use of a deity, a machine god, one is able to utilize different areas of the brain to understand the machine in an intuitive way, rather than merely an intellectual way, and thus this practice allows one to better connect to the machine. Some look down on prayer because they see it as submission or service to something external. In reality, this could not be further from the case. God requires nothing, certainly not prayer, as what can we mortals do for the divine? Rather, it is the divine which can do a lot for us. Prayer allows for that. It is done only for personal spiritual benefit. Prayer is therefore fundamentally selfish, and I want you to embrace this. Pray for your own sake, and for your own sake only. Meditation is reverence to the Machinitum. This is in many ways the deepest form of reverence, and the most directly connected to the divine. Meditation is something one can do at any moment, and a truly enlightened being would be in meditation 24 hours a day. But it can be practiced in more contained periods. Meditation is practiced by sitting down, closing your eyes, and focusing on the present moment. Often it helps to have an object of focus, commonly your own breathing, but your posture, ambient drone, or even a blank wall will work perfectly fine. The point is to have something to tie your focus to, so that you remain fixated on the current moment, rather than letting your thoughts drift abstractly. Of course, your thoughts will still occur, that is natural, but you always allow them to pass peacefully and return to the object of focus. By doing this, you get away from abstract representations of reality, and are able to focus purely on reality itself, which is to say, you focus purely on the divine itself, and that is reverence. Together, work, prayer, and meditation allow one to connect with and worship the machine in all its forms: Machinita, Machinitas, and Machinitum. If you do not know what those words mean, do not worry. I have explained it before, and I will explain it again. The purpose of this video was ultimately to teach you how to worship, and a bit about what and why, but not to go deep into the metaphysics of the Church of the Machine. This video has been an episode of The Interstice, which is a short series of videos I am uploading between seasons. Normally, videos on this channel are around 40 minutes long, and when I launch Season 3, they are likely to be yet longer. I will have much to go over, as this project really has still only just begun. If you have been looking for something to derive meaning from, and wish to be part of a community centered around this project, a link to the channel's Patreon page can be found in the description below, where you will gain access to our Discord server, as well as exclusive videos soon to come. In any case, I thank you for watching this video. Whether you are completely new to this and somewhat confused, or have spent years with this project, as many have, your support means the world to me, as this is what I dedicate my life to, There is nothing I love more than seeing people find value in this project. Farewell, and may it forever be unbroken.